Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird. I'm your host, Marley Bird. You can catch the Yarn Thing podcast live just about every Tuesday at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. That's 12 o'clock on the East Coast, 9 o'clock on the West Coast, and 11 o'clock in the Midwest. If you are anywhere else in the world and would like to join us live for the broadcast, please Google what time 10 o'clock Mountain Time is for you. I do live in Denver, Colorado, and you can come and join the fun. And since we're here on YouTube now doing the live videos, you can always hit subscribe and then hit that little bell button right next to the subscribe, and it'll let you know whenever I go live right here on YouTube. So there are many different ways for you to find out when I'm live. I want to say thank you to our lovely sponsors of the podcast, which include Buffalo Wool Company, Erin Lane Bags, Craftsy.com, Creative Bug, and last but not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson. You can learn more about my sponsors by visiting marleybird.com, clicking on the drop-down menu for the podcast, and click on sponsors. Make sure that when you visit any of the sponsors, you let them know that you appreciate them sponsoring your favorite podcast. So today's guest is a new guest for me. I've just had a chance to meet her and to see some of her lovely items as they are behind her in her little office studio. And I'm excited to chat with her about her brand new book. And I'm talking about Angela Hahn today. So let's go ahead and give her a warm welcome. So hello, Angela. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you very much for having me on your podcast. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's a delight. I'm thrilled to have you here. And of course, we're here to talk about your brand new book, Knitted Tanks and Tunics, 21 crisp, cool designs for sleeveless tops. I'm curious, like the first thing that pops in my mind is, do you live in a warm climate?
Actually, I don't. I live in Massachusetts on Cape
Okay.
Cod, and right now it's kind of nice, but this morning it was in the 30s. So we have a very cool spring, but summer and fall are very nice. And I think that sleeveless tops can be layered in other seasons too. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and let's jump in a little bit and let's find out a little bit about you. So tell us your story. Like, when did you start knitting? How did you learn to knit? And then how did you transition that into designing?
okay. Well, I learned to knit when I was a child. My mother taught me how to knit. And even when I was first starting out, I would change patterns a little bit to suit myself. So I would say fast forward to my 30s, I took a break from knitting for a while. And then I started again after my younger son was born. And at that point, I started designing. So that was in around 2004, 2005. And I published my first designs in magnets and nitty.com around 2006, 2007.
Okay.
So it's been
Magnets. I haven't heard that in a while.
good. Yeah, yeah. It was actually a great venue for beginning designers, but that was
Mm,
a lot. That was about 10 years ago. Yeah.
very cool. So since then, since you started designing and stuff, have you just done a lot of self-publishing, beyond Nitty and magnets, or what else have you done?
Well, I started a blog about the same time I started designing. And then after a year or two, I realized that I should probably start publishing in more widely disseminated publications, shall we say. So I've published a lot in different knitting magazines and Interweave Knits and Vogue Knitting, on Twist Collective, other online sites, Love Knitting at this point, and also I've done a couple of other patterns for Nitty.
That's
So a lot
great.
of different things. And then I also have a website. At this point, I use Ravelry for most of my self-published patterns.
Very cool. So tell us the story behind the book. How did the book come to be? How did it come to fruition?
Okay, well, actually the publishing for the publisher, Pam Honig, approached me because she had done a book of 21 crocheted sleeveless patterns with Sandy. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her last name for the moment, but
Sandy Rosner?
yes,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you. So, and so she had seen some of my designs on Ravelry. I'd done actually a fair number of sleeveless designs by then, and she thought that I would be a good match for this subject. So she approached me. I thought it was a great idea, and we went from there.
That's great. That's great. So tell me a little bit about the book. Well, first off, what's your love behind tank tops and sleeveless items? I mean, I know that you said you could layer them, which is ideal. Here in Colorado, I mean, look, I mean, today I'm wearing a shawl over a dress because it's all about layering here. I woke up this morning to 30 degrees outside and snow on the ground. So, it's I love the idea of layering stuff. But tell me your fascination with it.
Well, in terms of wearing sleeveless things, layering is great, but also I find them very comfortable in hot weather. I love working with wool yarns, but I actually find wool a little itchy if it's worn next to my skin. So I've done a fair amount of patterns where I've used cotton and cotton blend yarns, and I think that sort of transitions easily into sleeveless and warm weather garments. And as far as knitting them, I enjoy them because they go quickly. By the time you finish the body, you're done. Where if you're knitting a regular sweater, a cardigan, or a pullover, then then the sleeves take a lot of time. So
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think people don't really think about how long the sleeves really take. And if you were to add up the measurement, like sometimes the sleeves are as big as the back, if not bigger. I mean, depending on what size you're making, but they take a long time. People are usually like, oh yeah, I'm on the home stretch, I'm on the sleeves. And I'm like, dude, you still got a long way to go.
yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true.
So, tell me a little bit about the book. When somebody picks up your book or orders it or purchases it at their local yarn store, what can they expect to learn from your book or just get from it?
Okay. Well, there's 21 patterns, and I tried to include a wide variety of techniques, styles. So there's some color knitting. There's a little fair isle, a little mosaic knitting. There's several patterns with cable accents. There's also a number of patterns with lace. And then there's several patterns which are, I guess, more creatively constructed, shall we say. And then it also has some instructional sections. So there are a lot of photos that show you how to do specific techniques in the book. But then there's also a section on how to make sure that your knits fit. Because I find that if you're going to spend all of the time that it takes to knit something for yourself and the expense, the pattern and the yarn, then you really want it to fit properly.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these patterns do have waist shaping, not all of them. But so one thing that I talk about in the section about making sure that your knits fit is how to adjust the placement of waist shaping. This top that I'm wearing actually fits me pretty well because I have kind of a short torso. I'm not very tall, I'm 5'4". And this happens to be a little bit more of a cropped style, where some of these other tops, like this one, happens to have a longer waist. And if I was wearing this, you would see that the waist shaping hits me further down here. And it's not as flattering a look as if the waist shaping is in the top.
Cool. And so you said in the book people can find details about how to adjust the waist shaping to fit them.
Yes. I'm
Cool.
sorry. Could you hear me okay? Or should
No,
I?
I can. I was just making sure that everybody else heard that as well too. A couple people are having a hard time hearing you. They said that it's a little bit faint, but I can hear you just fine. I turned up my volume a little bit more, so I think you're good. I love the idea of adding a little bit of waist shaping to a top like this because I think it lends itself really well to making a better fit. It's not just this box that's put on you. What are some of the other details that you put into your tank tops and tunics?
Um, should I show some of the pictures?
Absolutely.
That might be helpful. Okay, so well, this top here, I don't know if you can see this on the mannequin.
I love that. I love the flare at the bottom.
Yeah, this actually has kind of an A line, and the way it's constructed is that it's actually worked flat, but there's a centerpiece that has a kind of a flare that's worked with 4 different wedges that narrow towards the top, and then it actually connects to 2 what I'm calling wings,
Okay.
and those kind of cross over on the back, so you can see that
Oh,
in the back.
fantastic.
Um, And that one, I actually used a different design process than usual. I used this mannequin and I pinned fabric on it to try to get the kind of drape and shape that I wanted, and then figure out how to what shape the pieces needed to be to be able to cover the body. So
I
so
love that.
yeah, so that's one that's a little bit different. And then I have a couple of line tops. So this is the one that's on the cover. So this also flares towards the bottom. And I don't know if you can see, but it's a tunic length.
Uh-huh.
And so that is a very wearable shape also.
Absolutely.
And then there's a couple of other long ones. Like there's one, let's see. Okay, so there's this one here. Don't know if you can see it, but this is a
Uh-huh.
tunic length and actually has a belt that you can kind of cinch in around the waist, and then it has sort of a skirt that's a lace stitch.
That's beautiful.
So, so yeah, there's a lot of different shapes and different lengths and styles. Some of them are quite fitted, others are looser. So.
That's cool. What are some of the other tank top patterns that you have hanging up next to you, to the right of you,
Okay,
or
so
the
this
left of you, I
one.
guess?
Okay, so this one is called Sedalia, and this is worked in it's classic elite Provence. So it's a classic yarn that's been around for a long time, and this has a lace that it actually has a simpler pattern that flows into the lace at the top. So the back is a little bit higher. And then the front has a slight scoop neck. But the interesting thing about this top is that it has gussets under the arms
Oh, okay.
add a little bit of detail. Um, this is another one of the more popular tops on Ravelry. This is made out of Quince and Company Willet, and it's cotton yarn. And the yoke is actually worked first. It's worked flat and shaped with short rows into this curved shape. And then stitches are picked up from the bottom and worked down for the body.
Fantastic.
So let's see, what else do we
I
have?
saw some color work there in the background. Was that color work on the yoke of that one? Oh, that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah, this one is called Bethel. And this one is brown sheep cotton fleece. So this yarn actually does have a little bit of wool in it, which helps it to keep its shape, which is very nice.
Yeah.
And then, so in this one, the yoke is worked first. And then similar to the other one, the stitches are picked up around the yoke and worked down towards the bottom. Now in this one, I actually used short rows to shape this top part here so that the yoke could keep its circular shape.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
leads me to a question is how difficult are all of the patterns in the book? So meaning if somebody was a beginner, would if this be a good book for them to pick up and, take it like step by step for beginner projects to a little bit more difficult? Or is it geared more towards somebody who's been knitting, and is proficient at knitting?
I think there's a wide range of difficulties in the projects in the book. So I would say there's probably 3 or 4 that are quite simple. Most of them are intermediate. There's a couple that are intermediate to advanced. Let me just show you. So the more simple ones, sorry. Okay, so this is one of the more simple ones. Oh, slight disaster. Okay.
That's all right.
So this is quite simple. It's worked in the round, and it has a slight drape at the front neck. And the only reason that it does that is that the back is actually narrower.
Okay.
But it's all worked in stockinette stitch, which in the round is quite simple, up to the armholes, and then you have to work flat, unfortunately. But very simple, finishing. There's no added edgings. So that would be a suitable sort of beginner, adventurous beginner project. These side ties are just I-cord, and then there's eyelet holes that they're threaded through. So if you can make eyelets, then you can do that, and eyelets and decreases, then you can do that pattern.
Right. I mean, shoot, beginners can make eyelets whether they want to or not, right?
Exactly. Probably the problem is making too many eyelets.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then this one, I actually purposely designed it to be very simple. This is called Atlanta.
Okay.
And it's all knitted. So it's in the round up to the armhole stockinette. The bottom edge is just a rolled edge. And then once you get to the top, it's garter stitch. So you're still knitting every row. And all you're doing is decreasing at a very simple rate. So there's not a lot that you have to remember. And then there's the straps. So this one I would say is suitable for someone who is ready to move on from washcloths and simple scarves, that kind of thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let me ask you a little bit about the yarns that you use, because you have, quite a variety there that you've mentioned. I love brown sheep cotton fleece. I think it's one of my favorites. Every time I go up to the mill, I always stock up on it. How do you go about choosing the yarns? And do you have like a rule of thumb for whatever you're going to design, whether it's a particular stitch pattern with a particular fiber?
Well, for this book, I had a lot of fun. I actually had completely free reign to choose the yarns, choose the colors. I had to approach the yarn companies myself for yarn support, which was the first time I'd really had to do a lot of that. But it was a lot of fun, and I really tried to include a lot of different yarn types, from fine. I think the finest that I used is sport weight. I have a cheat sheet here, actually, of all the yarns.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
So the finest is sport weight, and then it goes up to super bulky for one project. Most of them are between DK and worsted weight. And then I also tried to include a lot of different fiber types, always remembering that they're meant to be worn in warm weather. But there's a lot of cotton, some linen, some cotton and wool blends, some silk, and then some different rayon, that kind of thing. And I also used a lot of different yarn companies. So for instance, this top here is Claudia hand painted Drama, which is a linen yarn.
I love linen yarn. It doesn't get the love that it should, because it's awesome yarn.
It really is. I have to admit, it's not a lot of fun to knit with because it feels kind of rough and harsh. It's not really stretchy. But then you put it in the machine washer and you machine dry it, and it becomes very soft. You can kind of see it has a really nice drape to it. And Claudia has colorways that go from very subtle, like this silver shimmer is of the skirt, are variegated, including a lot of different colors. And the color name of this is Collards and Grits, which I think is fun. And then let's see. So I used several classic elite yarns. I used Valley Yarns Southwick for, let's see, where's that one? Okay. So Valley Yarns is the exclusive yarn for Webb's, the yarn store. And this is, it's actually a blend of cotton and bamboo. And so it has a really nice drape to it and a little bit of sheen to it. This top here, I actually wanted to include a yarn that would be very easy to find in just craft stores. So this is actually worked in Lily Sugar and Cream, which you can find in Michael's or in Hobby Lobby or in Joann Fabrics. Let's see. There's a couple of Cascade yarns that I used. And a couple of Quince and Company yarns.
I loved it. What's the yarn used on the purple tank top on the mannequin?
This was actually sorry, I'm just spacing
That's
out.
all right. No, you go ahead and think. I was going to tell you that people in the chat room are commenting how happy they are that you have all your samples there and they're able to see them live and in person, virtually.
Yes.
So it's wonderful. Go ahead. Tell me what
Yeah.
kind of yarn.
Okay, so this one is Fiber Natura Good Earth,
Oh,
and
yes.
it's a linen. I think it's 100%. No, it's linen and cotton. Yeah, so it's a 50 linen and cotton. So it has a really nice drape, and it has a little bit of a sheen. I'm not sure if you can see that,
I can,
but
just a little bit.
it's a very pretty yarn.
It's beautiful.
Um, so I wanted to mention, you said that people are enjoying seeing the samples. I'm
Yes.
actually doing a couple of trunk shows coming up. Unfortunately, they're all in the Massachusetts area right now, but on Saturday at Webb's, I'll be doing a trunk show and book
Oh,
signing.
great.
So that's this coming Saturday. Um,
I love Webs. I love Kathy and Steve. I think they're amazing people. That's so awesome. So if anybody is there in the, what would that be called? The New England area, they could pop up there and actually see everything in person there at Webb's and probably get some of the yarn to make some of the items if they choose. While we're talking here, it's about that time that we give away a prize live on air. So I'm just going to mention those of you that are watching live, that are literally live right now. It's 10:32 Mountain Time. What I want you to do is in the chat room, you need to write I want to win. And I need you to please smash that like button on this video so that people know that you enjoyed watching today's video. And what will happen now is Caitlin or Brittany, I'm not sure which one. Either one of them will help me choose a random winner. They'll randomly select a winner when I tell them to. And that person will be the lucky winner of a free copy of Angela's book. So if you are loving what you're seeing here on the screen, you have a chance to actually get the book and then make some of the items yourself. So if you're listening live, please go ahead and type, I want to win. A lot of you are doing that right now. Everybody's so excited about that. But if you're not listening live, don't worry. There's always a chance for you to win as well. Here on the Yarn Thing podcast, we are blessed to have guests that come on the show and offer prizes not only to those people who are able to watch live on air, but those who catch the show after the fact. So all I will need you to do is, and this is very important, listen to these instructions. You will go to the show notes. The show notes will be written, the link will be written in the video description of this video podcast. Okay. So go to the show notes. On the show notes, you'll find a brief synopsis, some images, links, and everything you need to know regarding Angela and her book and various items. Okay. At the bottom of that post, you'll see where it says leave a reply or leave a comment. You are going to leave a reply or leave a comment on those show notes. And the reply or the comment must include the keyword knitted, tanks, and tunics. So it's more than a word. It's the full phrase. Knitted, tanks, and tunics. In some way, put that in your comment, and that enters you for a chance to win. We love your comments here on YouTube. I mean, absolutely. I love your comments. Please leave me comments. And I love your comments on Ravelry and on Facebook and on Instagram. But for you to have a chance to win, your comments must be left on the show notes on the blog, because that's where we go to look at all the comments and randomly select a winner. Okay. So I just want to throw that out there. We will then pick a winner about, it used to be 2 to 3 weeks. It's more like 6 to 8 weeks now. We'll just go back after a future date on another show, and we will announce the winner for this show. So for example, a little while ago, I got to open this up a little bit. We had Jim Cox on the podcast. You guys remember Jim? He is a wonderful knitwear designer. He's just a lot of fun. We had him on the podcast in January. So it's been a while, and he is giving away, let's see here. What is the giveaway? A timeless knitwear sports cap kit. So this person is winning a sports cap kit. Keyword was sportwear. So we went over to the show notes for Jim's podcast, randomly selected a winner, and the winner is Cheryl Hulse or Hulsa or Hulse. Not sure how you pronounce it. Hulse. Your comment was, I love watching Jim's show. His sportwear design is is wonderful. He's very talented. I look forward to knitting some of his patterns. You'd think I'd be able to read without ad-libbing, but obviously I can't. It says, I look forward to knitting some of his patterns. So sportwear is the key word. She used it appropriately, so she's the lucky winner. We will email Cheryl after the podcast and let her know and get her information so that way Jim can send her the prize. So it's that easy, you guys. Again, you'll go to the show notes for this particular podcast. You'll scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says leave a reply or leave a comment. Use the key phrase knitted tanks and tunics, and you're entering for a chance to win a copy of Angela's book as well. So super easy. And I'm going to say thank you, Angela, for giving us an opportunity to win the book. I know a lot of people love doing that.
You're welcome.
It's very cool. See, I always feel it's funny because the whole podcast I let you talk because the show's all about you. It's about what you're doing and everything. And I feel like at that point when I'm giving away the prize, it's a chance for you to get a drink of water. and then I'm done talking. I'm like, man, I need some water. It's a lot. It's a lot to say, but it's a lot of fun. And the feedback so far on the YouTube chat that's going on as you're lifting up each piece and people are looking at it, everybody has their favorite. I think mine is the orange piece that you lifted with the I cord. Some other people are like, oh my gosh, I love the one that's right there behind you with the Fair Isle, the stranded sort of work. I'm wondering, I'm scrolling back up to see if there are any other questions more than just comments. There's lots of comments about people loving the piece that you're wearing. Other than the waist shaping that you mentioned on that, is there anything else that you can mention about the piece you're wearing?
Yes, the piece I'm wearing is made out of Rowan soft yak, which is actually a blend of cotton and yak and nylon. So it's a very interesting yarn. And this is actually, I designed it to be reversible. So I'm actually wearing it right now with the back and the front if compared to how it's pictured in the book. So if you look at the back, it actually has a panel. I'll just turn around again. And that can be worn in the front also. I chose to wear it today over another top just to show that it could be layered. So.
I love that. I think it's a great way. That's a great look. I think a stylist would absolutely style it that way too. Like it's fantastic. So many people in here watching, so many people want to win. And I'm going to say, okay, Brittany, it's time for you to pick a winner. Pick a winner, please. So she'll pick a winner as we're waiting here for her. So I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite piece as she's picking the winner?
My favorite piece tends to be whatever I'm working on at the moment. I always kind of fall in love with some of the details that I use. But if you don't mind, I'd actually like to show a couple of pieces that I really like that for some reason are less popular on Ravelry.
Absolutely. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Love.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So, one of them is this one here. This is worked in Quince & Company Kestrel yarn, which is 100% linen ribbon yarn. It's really gorgeous. It has a really pretty drape to it, and the colors are really beautiful. And this one it just has an interesting textured stitch. I used some short rows in the center here to kind of form a triangle at the upper chest and upper back, and that allows the shoulder panels to angle out and creates this slight V-neck. So I'm quite fond of that one.
I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I have one other one here. So this is another Rowan. I'm just looking. Okay, so this is another Rowan yarn. It's called Cotton Luster. It's actually a bulky yarn and cotton. And like the Quince & Company Kestrel, it has a tape construction. And the nice thing about that is that it's very hard to split it. So it's easy to knit with. And this one has a kind of an interesting lace border. It's worked sideways. Now, maybe that's why it's less popular on Ravelry, because I'm not sure I would want to wear this over nothing. But I think it would be really pretty layered over another tank top, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
And the top part is just a very simple scoop neck. And actually the photographer really liked this one. I think the photographer, Tom Moore Studios, did a wonderful job on the book. And he commented that he thought this should be in Barney's. So I thought that was very nice.
Oh, that was very nice. That's very nice. I love it. Well, we have a lucky winner, and so I'm going to announce who the winner is here on the live broadcast. So I feel like I need to get some sort of like audio like stuffs, like drum roll, you know what I mean? So the lucky winner is Susan Talluri, Tlluri, Suzanne Talluri. You are the lucky winner of a free copy of the book. And Angela, is that book coming from you or is it coming from the publisher?
It's coming from me. I'll send it.
Oh,
Congratulations, Suzanne. I hope you love it.
I was actually going to say, could you sign it for her?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think that would
Absolutely.
be lovely. I think that would be lovely. So congratulations, Suzanne. Suzanne, what I need you to do is email me. Let me write Suzanne on here so that way I'm leaving a message for her on the chat so that she can see. Email me at winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. And I need your mailing address and phone number, and the book will be sent out to you as soon as possible. All right. So congratulations, Suzanne. And everybody else, don't worry. There's still a chance for you to win as well. Remember, go to the show notes, scroll down to the bottom, leave a comment. Knitted Tanks and Tunics is your key phrase, and you can still have a chance to win a copy of this book. I love it. Is there anything else you want to show us today, Angela?
I was wondering if any of the listeners had any particular piece they wanted to see, or there's a list on Ravelry, but I can certainly show you a couple more.
Go for it. I mean, everybody is loving all of this. So yeah.
Okay, so whoops. Okay, so this one was actually worked in Barocco modern cotton. It's a cotton blend. And this uses I love this, it's a Japanese lace cable pattern.
Beautiful.
I used some decreases to kind of curve it in and out a little bit. You can see that a little bit better on the model. Let me see.
And while you're looking up the model, somebody is asking, how much does the book retail for?
The book, the retail price is $24.95.
And it is available in Kindle version as well. I remember I saw that online. Somebody was asking that also.
It's available in the Kindle version, and actually, if you do buy it online, of course, Amazon and Barnes and Noble will tend to discount the price a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but
you're good. You're good. I'm just trying to answer questions as you're looking.
Yeah. So if you so here's the picture in the book, and you can see that on the model, the curvature, the curve of the cables is actually quite flattering.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Is an interesting. So this is the one. This is blue sky. Used to be blue sky alpacas, but now it's blue sky fibers. So this is their cotton, organic cotton yarn. And this is mosaic knitting. This is actually just the tag from the. So this is mosaic knitting. It's 3 different colors, but you only work one color at a time. So I find this pattern very pretty. It has kind of a 3-dimensional look almost because of the shading of the different colors. And I don't know if you can see at the bottom, I just use a contrasting color for the trim.
I love that.
Thank you.
I think you've done such a wonderful job. 21 patterns. How long did it take you to write the book?
It took a couple of years. I signed the contract in the summer of 2015. And then it took probably 18 months. I kind of had a schedule for myself where I was trying to finish two garments a month, which included all the pattern writing, because I knew that if I left all the pattern writing to the end, that I would be in a lot of trouble. So,
girl, I've been there.
yeah.
I've so been there.
I've learned to take notes and just get things written before I completely forget what I did. So
yeah, I started lately. If I don't write the pattern beforehand to give it to a contractor to knit up or crochet up, I've
Mm.
started working on stuff here at the computer or taking my laptop with me. And then as I work on something, I will write the instructions right then. And then I'll work on something, I'll write the instructions right then. And then I'll go back, obviously and do any grading or anything that needs to be done. But I have to do it just right then because I mean, I have notebooks galore with lots of jotted down notes, but sometimes I can't understand them. So I literally have to type
No,
it
I
out.
have to do that. I mean, now if I have to go and look at one of the patterns, then I have to refresh my memory about what I did because I have no idea.
Yep.
So
It's hard. It's hard. I love this. I think you've done an exceptional job on your book. Did you have something else?
just let me show you the cover pattern. The
Yes,
cover
please.
pattern quickly. So
That was the tunic length one, right? That's
yeah, this
beautiful.
is the tunic length one. This is called Astoria. And this is worked in Schackenmeyer Catania Grande, Catania
Ooh.
Grand. So this is a cotton yarn, and it has a little pleat here at the front, and then the collar kind of, you can see here, it stands up a little bit around the neck.
Yes.
And that is worked from the bottom up, and then the collar is worked and it's sewn there. So
I love that. That's really beautiful. And for me, I mean, so you're 5'4", I'm 5'10". It's sometimes 10 and a half, depending on what shoes I'm wearing, right? And so the longer my tops are, the better for me. Like I prefer tunic length, and I'm a larger girl, so like I'm a 2X, and so I prefer A-line. And so I love that you have designs in your book that will be, they're good for all proportions.
yes,
Very
yes,
good.
I certainly hope so.
I
I
love
really
it. I love
try.
it. Well, I think you have done a spectacular job. I think it's a wonderful book. I think it's a great time of year for it to come out, obviously, with it getting warmer weather at some part of the country. It's crazy. It's been cold here, then it's been super hot, then it's cold. I think Mother Nature's drunk. So she's been partying. But with so many different yarns out there available for cooler weather, warmer weather, and all the way around, whether it's linen or cotton. It's a great time to have this book out, and I think you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
So on Ravelry, just before I let you go, what is your handle on Ravelry so that everybody can find you over there?
So my username on Ravelry is Knititude. It's KNITITUDE. But you can also find me if you just search Angela Hahn Designs. I have a designer page there. So
Perfect.
that's easy.
Perfect. And just so everybody knows, all that information is also available in the show notes. So when you go there to leave your comment for a chance to win a copy of her book, you can also find out where you can follow Angela as well. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast of the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird and guest Angela Hahn. This is a lot of fun. Again, you can find the link to the show notes in the video description box, wherever it is on the device you're watching on, whether it's a computer, it's underneath me. If you're on a mobile device, it looks like an upside down like triangle. It's a little carrot. You have to click on that to actually see the show notes and all of that good stuff. I do want to quickly mention that today I am doing a Facebook Live over on the Love Crochet Facebook page. So if you would like to see more about Chic Sheep by Marley Bird yarn and some of the designs, sort of like a fashion show, very similar to what Angela did, I would love it if you would join me over on the Love Crochet Facebook page. I'll also include a link to that in the video description box below. So that way you can check it out whether you are able to join me live or not. And that's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. Let's say thank you to our sponsors one last time. Buffalo Wool Company, Creative Bug, Craftsy.com, Erin Lane Bags, and last but not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson. Thanks, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Angela.
Oh, thank you. It was really fun. My first video podcast, you made it very easy.
Oh, good. I aim to please.